For some of the most pivotal years of my life, tears were tucked back and hidden behind a masquerade of being tough, being a warrior, someone who could hustle, work hard, and get things done. But it wasn't until I started to get more in tune with who I really am that things took off in my business. Welcome to I Might Cry, a podcast exploring how heart, mind, body, and spirit are all deeply woven into the way we do business. With guest interviews from experts in business strategy, therapy, emotional intelligence, the human body, and so much more. I'm your host, Elizabeth Marks of Almond Leaf Studios. I've been capturing luxury weddings around the globe for decades and now have the privilege of educating others on how to build and grow profitable business doing what they love. I'm on a journey of self-discovery, of becoming more of the uniquely beautiful, messy, and complex human that I was created to be. And I want to invite you to do the same. Join me on this adventure of uncovering the walls we've built that keep us stuck in patterns of limitation so that we can journey into living life with arms and hearts wide open. Let's venture into this together. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world and wherever you're listening. I hope that you can just soak up some of this delicious, good, beautiful, joy-filled energy that I'm feeling today. I didn't do anything special with my morning. There's nothing external that is making it feel amazing other than just that I am feeling so aligned with the work that I'm doing and seeing the trickle-down effect of living in total alignment and doing work that is truly your zone of genius. You guys, that is how I feel about all of the coaching side of my business. I've been stepping into this new beautiful season of doing a lot more coaching, whether that's group coaching or one-on-one coaching, and it just lights me up. I love seeing the transformation that happens for people, seeing them go from like completely stressed and overwhelmed and feeling like there's no path forward. There's no clear answer of like, what do they need to do next in their business? And they feel like their brain is running 100 miles a minute. Like it's just overwhelming and chaotic and crazy and just really stressful, to coming back to this like centered, calm, deep, relaxed, grounded, peaceful state, and having total clarity on where they're headed next and what the next steps are. There's a lot of different practices, a lot of different things that I could share with you, or stories that I could tell you of some of the people that are in my mastermind right now, some of the changes that they're making. You guys, I just have chills even thinking about it, like some really big, epic things that are happening and changes that they're making in their life and in their business. And the beautiful part of that is that when you make those changes internally or for your business, it trickles into every area of your life. You can't help but not. And I'm such a huge believer in the reality that you are you. You can't bring just business you to the table and leave all of whatever's happening in your personal life behind. Like you've got to bring the fullness of you, because if things are unraveling in your personal life and you're trying to like show up and be supported and move things forward in your business, but things are feeling really hard and stuck in your business, and you don't acknowledge that maybe there's a connection to things being hard in your personal life, it's not going to serve you well. And it's not going to allow you to be supported and receive the support from your coach or from whoever you're being mentored by. So I'm so freaking in love with all of this, and I wanted to share that with you. One of the practices that I have been doing in some of these communities that I've learned to do from one of my coaches is bragging. Now, why do I want to brag? Why are we going to talk about bragging? Number one, I think it's a huge, huge disrupt to the pattern of being focused on the negative. I think that's the biggest reason that I see so much value in it, just from a logical standpoint. And number two is I just know that it works. Like I just know that I know this works because I see it. I've done it for myself. I've done it times when I just feel really awful. Like I just feel grumpy. Maybe I even just finished a workout and a journaling session and a tapping, and I still just feel whether that's anger or bitterness or sadness and grief, like whatever the things are, the emotions that I'm holding. When I choose to show up and brag, everything begins to shift. And I think a huge part of that is because it really does train your brain to shift and start to focus on the good. So I wanted to just start today by sharing a couple brags with you. This is a message that somebody reached out to me with recently, right before our mastermind started. She said, "Hey, Elizabeth, I want to thank you so much for our call the other day. Your advice has been rattling around in my head ever since, and it's honestly giving me hope during a difficult couple of weeks. I honestly started this message to say I'm not ready, but instead I'm wondering if it's not too late to give the deposit. I like the idea you presented to say, okay, the next job I book pays for X, and I'd like to do that." I brag that that happened and that that made me so excited. And I actually brag that I loved that she was literally using her logic to say no, but her intuition, her gut, like told her say yes, and that she listened to that. That is so much a part of what I do and what I teach is leaning into your intuition, because you can have all of the strategy in the world, but if you're not doing it in an aligned way, a way that feels right for you, it's not going to make sense for you. It's not going to click. It's not going to move the needle forward. You're not going to see the results that you want. So I brag that I love teaching this like co-creation of strategy and intuition and really helping you lean into the answers that you already have within you. I brag that she totally joined my mastermind, and that even though we had technically already started, she joined a week late and she just fit right in and it was beautiful. I brag that I had the best kickoff event for the mastermind. Now we've also done the halfway point, and it just feels so amazing to host a space like this where people get to come in the fullness of who they are. And there's some deep things that come up. Sometimes we're joyful and celebrating like the good that's happening. And sometimes there's some really heavy, hard things that we're working through in our lives. And the containers that I like to create are a space for all of that, a space where all of that is welcome, that we are here to hold you, to love you, to celebrate you when you're in a space like that. I brag that my coaching clients tell me all the time things like, in just a month or two of working with you, everything has changed. I completely think about my business differently, and my life has changed because of it. I have messages like this a lot, and I brag that that feels so good and so stretchy and like pushing my edges and making me a little like slightly uncomfortable in a good way. And that's a part of bragging too, is that you want to get into that like, ooh, this feels a little bit wild to like brag and tell somebody else. But again, you're kind of expanding your capacity to receive more good when you're digesting the good. I brag that it has taken me about 6 years of a lot of trial and error with education and coaching to get here, but I know that I'm so good at this stuff and it lights me up. You guys, it feels so wild to brag about that publicly with you, but I know this is so good. Like, I watch people's lives change on these calls. I watch people make discoveries about themselves that needed to happen for years, or things get uncovered that maybe have been living dormant in there for 20 years. It's so amazing and humbling and honored. I'm so freaking honored to like hold this space and to love and care for and nurture people through the things that come up through the seasons. And what happens, what I see happen a lot, I brag, is that when they make a discovery like that, when they move through whatever is blocking them, whatever is holding them back, whatever is keeping them feeling scattered and all over the place and uncertain, unsure, when they move through that, everything begins to change. Like, the external starts to fall into place. I mean, like, clients start showing up out of the blue. People want to pay you more out of the blue. Like, things just start working. And, maybe you have a post that goes viral, or like just wild things happen that are not all based in logic, that are not like, oh, you did the algorithm just right, or you had this theory and you nailed the theory. Like, there's no more guessing. Like, what if I get it wrong? What if I do this wrong? What if I do this wrong? Maybe I should be doing this better. Maybe I should be doing this better. No, like, this is about you coming back into alignment to yourself and doing what feels really good to you, and trusting that the universe is going to help bring everything into alignment for you if this is the path that you were meant to walk. I brag that I have been running a very successful creative business with wedding photography for over 17 years. I think maybe going on 18 years now. I don't know. I've learned so many lessons the hard way, and I brag that now I get to share all of those with you so that you get to skip those steps. You guys, I brag that my wedding business basically runs itself now. Like I literally work on it maybe like a couple hours a week and my team handles the rest. No joke. I should actually do, probably heard me talk about it before, but Toggle, Toggl, is a time tracking tool that I've used in the past and I love it. I haven't been tracking my time as efficiently now because I can kind of see it on my calendar. There's a lot of meetings and things, but I should track it because I'm curious like how many hours. I'm guessing it's like 4 or 5 hours max, maybe like 2 or 3 a week that I'm putting into that business. Like truly, unless it's like booking season, there's a lot of inquiries because I do handle all of those still on the front end. And then I basically hand everything off to my team and then show up for the wedding day. It's magical. And if I can do it, you can do it too. I brag that the other week we were like headed out of town and we had a bunch of like inquiries that came in. And while we were gone, like 5 out of 5 inquiries booked. 5 out of 5. I brag that our marketing is so on fire that I love it so much. It has totally changed our life. It has totally changed our business. You guys, my marketing that I teach in the art of booking is literally the reason that we went from like nearly filing bankruptcy all the way back to multiple 6 figures very, very, very quickly. That is the system that I teach in the art of booking. So keep an eye out for that. We'll be launching that again soon. If you want to know more about it now, let me know. I can get you started and get the ball rolling for you there too. I brag that sometimes in my morning routine during a morning workout, that some of the best ideas come to me and that sometimes it just feels like this like download from the universe. And I know you know what I'm talking about. If you are creative like me, you've probably had a moment where like this idea just like pops into your head and you're like, oh, I got to create this. And so I brag that the best ideas typically come to me when I'm moving, when I'm outdoors, when I'm not in a state of thinking and logic and hustle and overwhelm. And I brag that my program, Finding Profit and Peace, is launching right now. I brag that the first event is starting in 2 days. By the time this gets released, it is starting in 2 days, and that we still have some spots left. I would love for you to be in there if you are curious, if you would just love some support. This program is all about you discovering how you can be more supported. Maybe you need to hire your first virtual assistant. Maybe you need to offload a bunch of tasks. Maybe you're tired of bookkeeping or social media posts. Maybe you're like, oh, I'm just so over it. I need to hire a social media manager just so that I can be more consistent. Because the more consistent you are in showing up, the more consistent your results will be too. So maybe you need to hire a social media person. Maybe you just need somebody to like come take care of your house so that you can spend your time playing with your babies and enjoying the world. Maybe you need to outsource some of your editing. Maybe you're a photographer or videographer, you need to outsource your editing, but it all feels really scary. Like this is a program where you get to come into it from a place of logic and reasoning and look at the numbers. Do I have the math? Do I have the data? How am I able to support something like this? How can I make a decision like this? And then also look at a place from intuition. We're going to also like give it some time and energy of like, okay, but what brings peace? How do I allow more peace into my life? And even if this is a scary risk and it doesn't make sense on paper, how do I move through the almost like bumping against, like I'm thinking like the bumpers of a bowling ball lane. Like over here, we're using logic. Okay, now we're bumping back over to this side and we're going to use some intuition. And you're just constantly letting like both logic and intuition lead and guide you. And it's this like beautiful, messy blend of both that we bring to the table and help you work through what feels most aligned for you. Because I could tell you, hey, the next step in your business is that you need to hire a social media manager. And you're like, actually, I really love this, but I hate the bookkeeping. I always put it off. Taxes are a nightmare. Then maybe we need to hire a bookkeeper for you first. So it's going to look different for every single person. So it's all about hiring and then also raising your prices, really pricing for profit and for peace. So in every section of the course, there's actually 3 different modules. One of them is focused on pricing first so that we can get your pricing to where it feels good. And then we'll focus on hiring if you need support, or outsourcing where you need support. And then the third part is kind of like putting that same system into place so that you know how to make all of the decisions moving forward using this peace and profit method. So I'll teach you all about how to use it so that you can make all of those decisions from a place of really thinking about what brings you peace in your life and also what is going to bring you profit, and where's the balance of the two, and how do you continue to move forward, believing that, trusting that you get to have both peace and profit. So anyway, the doors are open. If you want to sneak in at the last minute, if you are a procrastinator and you know this is meant for you and you're like, that sounds so amazing to be supported like that, to feel like I'm in community, like I have the support that I desire, this is for you. DM me on Instagram if you want to chat. If you have questions, I'm here. DM me and just tell me all the reasons why it doesn't work for you. I dare you. I want to chat. I want to hear why you think maybe this isn't the right fit too, or what would be the right fit for you. I'd just love to have a conversation. So please DM me on Instagram. I am always available to chat in the DMs, and I will be sending you so much love. Would love to hear what your brags are too. So DM me some brags as well. Bye for now. See you next time. If you enjoyed this podcast today, do us a favor and hit subscribe and then leave us a review. If you're looking for more, you can find us at almondleafstudios.com or on Instagram at almondleaf. Remember, you are enough. You are love, you are light, and you are worthy simply because you exist.